So we just wanted to get, I just wanted to make sure that we had the right room identifiers in there now, and they all correspond, same thing, the egress plan. And those all correspond to our occupancy load schedule. So that's why I want to do that. So we're going to go ahead and save and close. Actually, yeah, I'll go ahead and save and close. Haven't really done anything to the plan, but I've recentered it. And you know what? Rather than take the floor plan and duplicate the floor plan, because the floor plan has a whole bunch of symbols and kind of stuff on there for our electrical plan.
Okay.
Let's duplicate the finished plan. Eventually, the floor plan's not done yet. We still have to put all the dimensions and stuff like that into the floor plan. But let's keep working on sheet generation. And once we have all the sheets generated, we can go back and fine tune them. And at that point, you guys can take some of them and help fine tune them. I can take some of them and help fine tune them. If necessary, you and I may be able to fine tune everything pretty well right here doing our little meetings. But once we have all the sheets generated, then we can go back in and fine tune all of them. So let's take this finished plan. We're going to save it because we just put those identifiers in there. So now it's all saved back to the finished plan. Now we're going to save it as, I'm trying to decide if I put all the electrical sheets into one file. I think I am going to. No, well, you know what? This is going to be reflected ceiling plan because this is not our electric. This is the electrical. So we're going to put reflected ceiling plan. I'm just going to call it RCP for reflected ceiling plan. Save. Now we have to really quickly update the titles here. Reflected ceiling plan, REFLECTET, reflected ceiling plan. And then here we need to change it. The reason I like to have the title of the name of the plan on the title block is because when the plan set's completely rolled up and you just want to peel that back, like just enough to see what sheet you're looking at. And then once you have the right sheet, you just pull the whole thing open. So that you don't have to open the whole sheet up to see what plan it is that you're looking at. You can see it right on the title block. I just like to do that. Okay, so here's our reflected ceiling plan, reflected ceiling plan, reflected ceiling plan. So at this point in time, that we don't need to mess with that. I'm going to close this. I'm going to make sure this plan's saved. We're going to close it just in case we have this one's saved. We haven't done anything to it. We're going to change these legends out. We'll get in our own legends, put some keynotes in there. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to go back to my working, I need to go back to my incoming directory from Sentinel. And what date was this? This was the 26th.
I sent you the cover sheet and the revision as well.
2019.02.26. I'm creating a folder for the date that you sent me this information. So I'm going to select all right here. And then we'll drag and drop it into the folder. And then we're going to rename these things because I don't even know what the heck they mean. Okay, look, lighting control schedule. Electrical lighting plan. That's what this guy's calling this sheet. We'll keep hide. Electrical. Wait, I don't need it in caps locks. Electrical LHT lighting plan. Okay, what's this one? There's nothing worse than when you have a plan that you don't even know what it is because you can't. They've named it like TP7721542887. Okay, that tells me literally nothing. And I don't want to have a whole folder composed of TP272s, 456s, 892s. They literally give me no information. So this is a mechanical plan, right?
Yes.
So this is the mechanical plan.
We have just drafted in on the floor plan.
We can do that.
Yeah, we already drafted in there, so you may check it in and just be
Oh, you did already?
Yeah, we did
Okay.
it on the mechanical sheet.
Hide mechanical plan. So now we've got some rhyme and reason going on to our names here. Now let's see what this is.
This is the AC units that they're gonna install and put it there.
These are going to be new units?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Hide mechanical spec. Package unit spec. Building analysis reports. Okay, so this is a Title 24. Lighting for mechanical. Okay, so this is the Title 24. Let's see. Hide Title 24 loose. Those are the loose sheets. And this is the mechanical Title 24. Are these different sheets than what was in the other ones, or what?
No. These are the one that he sent me, the Title 24. That he says he wanted to add it on the plan set.
So what I'm trying to determine though is, are they the same sheets as it's on here?
The one that I sent you earlier?
No, this one right here. So this is the NRCC MEC 4E, page 3 of 3. NRCC MEC 4E, page 3 of 3. MRCC LTE MEC 4E, page 1 of 3, page 2 of 3, page 3 of 3. That's this sheet right here. NRCC MEC 04E. NRCC MEC.
Yeah, it's the same page.
04E, 3 of 3. It's the same page?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's see. Do they have the electrical sheets on here too? They have 1, 2, 3 of 3. So what I'm trying to figure out is, page 1 of 2, page 2 of 2. Page 1 of 2, page 2 of 2. Where is the 1 of 3 and the 2 of 3 though? That's what I'm not seeing.
1 of 3 and 2 of 3?
Oh, here we go. Over here,
Yeah.
over here, probably. 2 of 3, 1 of 3. Okay, cool. So let me see how many sheets they've got on here. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now, 14. 1, 2, 3. Actually, I usually put these sheets in it, but I don't care. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Cool. So they basically already put all the sheets in
here. Yeah.
So what we may be able to do is just grab these and drop them right into our sheet, right on the sheets, right onto our own title block.
Yeah, we don't have to put it in this title block, so we can just kind of like extra fit in and.
Right, and then just cut it out of the cut the title block.
Right.
That's fine. Okay, that makes it quick and easy. Cool. So this is the Title 24. This is the full sheet. Title 24, full sheets. Perfect. Now, what are these here? 2.0. I'm gonna buy myself a new copy of CAD. I'm tired of this bullshit. It's stupid not to have it.
How much is gonna cost you Civil 3D 2019?
It's gonna cost me $1,200 a year.
Okay.
I could pay 3,000 something for 3 years, but I only saved $200. So I'd rather keep the money in my own account for the next 2 years rather than let them have that money for 2 years.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For only $200, forget that. So let's see, we're gonna have to open these with DWG TrueView. Save them down, go in there and look and see what they got. Come on. Come on. It's frozen. It's trying to do something here. Come on here, dude. Let's get her going. Come on. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's come over here and try it this way. Okay. There we go. So this is what you guys already laid out then. Okay, gotcha.
There are some here and there.
Sweet. Okay, let's save it down to a 2013. 2013 in place. Let's open the files. Sentinel. Incoming. Yesterday's date. Both of these files. Open. Where's DWG True? Here we go. Come on, open. Okay, convert them. Converting files. Close. Do you want to save this files? No. Close out of DWG TrueView. And this. Okay, this freaking thing's absolutely froze up. Crap. It's all right. We already saved the file.
Okay.
So it's no big deal. It's going to require a Control-Alt-Delete. It's going to require a operating system override of the actual program. Now we're going to reopen the program. We're going to open your mechanical sheet. We'll go ahead and open up the mechanical plan. I'll just look at them side by side here. Let's find the unit, package units here. So you guys don't have the actual unit drawn in here, huh?
No.
Yeah, what I would probably do in this situation is I would actually do it like this. Just in the future, just as a heads up, what I would have done here, let's just go ahead and maximize AutoCAD. Let's close your sheet out. I would open up the base plan. Actually, this is the mechanical sheet itself.
Yes. It's on the theater.
Before we draw the mechanical in, what we need to do is we need to draw the electrical in. So we're not even going to look at your mechanical yet.
Cool.
We need to have our own reflected ceiling plan.
Then we can draft in that mechanical sheet.
And we'll put in all of the supplies and returns into our own ceiling plan based on their stuff.
Okay.
And I'll show you how I would do theirs. So if we go into our base plan, that's the elevation schedules, like the same time base. Here we go. So we have no systems drawn in yet. So let's start with their electrical plan. The electrical lighting plan. Now what we'll do is we'll align this from here to here, and from, say, where's the walls? They have no walls, do they?
No, they don't.
Oh, well, we got this side over here. So we'll take this one. Take this corner and put it here. All right, so there's our plan. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to ceiling grid, and we're going to draw in the whole grid.
Okay.
So ceiling grid, a ceiling grid, and we're just going to draw in their entire.
Why don't you just draw a construction line there so that way we can trim it all later?
Because the line doesn't go all the way through to the grids don't align all the way across the whole plan. You see what I'm saying? They're all unique for every single room. So I'm going to tackle one room at a time. They're offset 24 by 48s. So I'm just going to go offset 48 and run it down, and then
48 inches?
Extend it. Yeah. So we have to take this down to here. send us to the back so we can see our own work.
Thanks for saying that. Maybe you sent it already and I just didn't see that. But thank you. And for all the pictures of the office pictures that. Oh yeah. I haven't done anything with it yet. We got busy, so oh yeah.
We won't redraw any of their circuiting or anything like that. We're going to go ahead and place that. We'll put that in another plan.
That they have the same key for both doors, which I didn't realize.
Let's see where we at.
For their offices, yeah. So this one is here. Do you know which one is? I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, I guess you can use either key on both doors. Thank you. Is Kyle here? Your Kyle? I have a CG2, that's why I was like, yeah, he's in it.
Now we'll put one in. Offset 24.
I'm gonna. Nathan has wanted me to ask, call him like for 1 minute. Should I?
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm just going to work on
Okay.
dropping
I'm
this
watching
stuff
you
in
too.
So time consuming, tedious.
Hey Nathan. Chateaus? Hold on, let me just open it. Chateaus, I believe it is Lenore.
I'm just going to do one in every room.
Okay, let me ask Hamid to update it for you and just send it back right away. Yeah, I know him. Yeah, okay, let me just, here, I'm just pulling it out. These are Four Creeks. Yeah. No, the Ash Road is not finalized with the city yet, so that's why they haven't just completed those. You know, we have the request, but we haven't done anything on the Ash Road. Yeah. Let me just open. I'm just opening it.
Put this on.
So let's come from the number 9, right? From number. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's Lunar. Let me ask Hamid. Let me ask Hamid just to put all of them into their own categories. Like put it Lunar, put it Four Creeks. So that. Right now, I'm gonna tell him. I'm gonna tell him now. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
You never locate a ceiling grid less than 6 inches away from a wall. Maybe 4 inches, but that's about it. If the grid doesn't fit
Okay.
like that, you shift it over you shift it over
It should be about 6 inch.
24 inches. It's basically you either center a light in the middle of the room or you center a T-bar grid in the middle of your room. That way you get a symmetrical on both sides. Now, see what happened is, now what we've done is you got 25 inches here. You know, you can actually cut tiles like that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
He had tried to center the light in the room. See, if you center the light in the room, move this over 24 inches. So look, see how the center line of the room is right here.
Okay.
In this direction here, the east-west. Center line of the room is right there. So this is 48-inch wide. In order to center this tile in the middle of the room, I need to move the grid by 24 inches.
Yes.
Does that make sense? But now what happens is the edge of the T-bar is going to be distance 1 9/32 of an inch away from the corner of the wall. So basically here's your wall right here. This is an elevation view of your room here now.
So it means you can't have less than 4 inches.
What they're trying to do, so your T-bar grid looks like this. You have an L grids at the edge of the wall, and then you have over, say, 48, you have a T grid. Okay, and you have your T-bars in here. It's 24 by 48 panel that's sitting up inside here. Well, if we do orthographic projection, and this is the wall right here. He's basically saying locate another T-bar grid right here.
Most people don't get it. I did it until I actually looked at it. Thank you.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying now.
What the hell are you gonna do there? You can't even put a T-bar grid right there. It's gonna hit the wall. What I'm saying. So instead, he's saying terminate the grid right here. He's saying put your L right there. That's the edge of your grid. Now you have a freaking gap between your T-bar and the wall, for God's sake.
Yeah, I
see what I
totally get
mean?
it.
Fucking idiots. And people that are doing like that, and they're not even, those are just, that's like a draftsman who doesn't know what he's doing. So basically, Teeter has a bunch of draftspeople working for him. So what happens in this room, the T-bar guys go in there and they go, ah, you fucking idiot. And then they go, this grid doesn't work. And they think to themselves, God, those stupid architects. How the hell do they even get a job as an architect? They don't even know what they're doing, for God's sake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then he gives a bad name to architects and designers because they're lazy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just flat out laziness. When you see a situation like that, you go, shit, I can't terminate my grid there. I'm going to have to either, in a room like this where it's not that big a deal, what you could do is you could just say, screw it. I could just move the whole grid over to the wall. And then this one's going to offset another 48 inches. You don't have to center this damn thing in the server closet. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to center the light perfectly dead nut center in a server closet. Besides, it's they were scheduling in a 4x8, a 2x4 troffer, for God's sakes. A 2x4 troffer in that room is like way overkill. It's gonna be like your basically a 50 square foot room with a freaking high bay 2x4 troffer in the room. So what he's trying to do is doing that. So let's freeze this out again. So even this is not going to work because now you're basically into that same situation over on this side where you're trying to put in a T-bar grid right here, and then you have to put another one right there. and it's still only 2 inches. So here's your wall right here. Here's your edge at the wall. Offset 2 inches. Now they're saying put a T-bar here. You're going to have 2 runners side by side, and you're going to have like 5/32 of an inch of ceiling tile. So that doesn't work either. The smallest piece of ceiling tile that you ever really want to have the ceiling grid guys create is maybe like a 6-inch wide tile. So if that's the situation, then what I would do is I would say, okay, let's do this. Let's just move the thing over another 6 inches. Let's pick a number. So let's say 3. How many? 3 feet 6. All right, 3 feet 6. That works. And then over here, you have an 8-inch tile. So now your wall's like this. There's the edge of your wall. You have a grid right here, offset 8 inches away. Whoops. You have a T-bar, and these are probably a little large, and so let's do this. Yeah, 1.5 inches wide. Now you have a piece of T-bar in here. They can actually cut and they can actually lay into the grid. And over on the other side of the wall, God, I hate the new AutoCAD just sucks, man. It really does. Like AutoCAD 2006 was a real good. Over here, you have like a 3.5-foot tile, and then you have 2 48ers inside there. So you got a 48, a 48, and you got a 6-inch tile over here. You got a 3.5-footer over on this side. The light, what a lighting. 2x4 troffer. It's going to go there, put it on the lighting layer. A light, which is fine. That's going to blast plenty of light into the room. So does that make sense?
Yes, totally.
I want you to be able in the future to feel comfortable saying, you know what, I think I can do a TI. I know how to lay out a ceiling grid. I know how to lay out an HVAC grid. I know how to make sure there's no conflicts. So we're going to continue on through their plan here, and we're going to determine. What I was doing was I was just drawing in a couple of rooms, but I was freezing out their plan because it makes it really hard. Here's something that I'll do real quick before we even move any further is you need to close off these walls here so that, because when you're looking up, you see the header, you see the ceiling header. So whenever you take a plan, the plan is essentially a section cut. Except it's a section cut laterally through the middle of the wall, either looking up or looking down. So a plan view is a section cut. Did you know that?
Yeah, totally.
Makes sense. It's a section cut through all the walls. And in this case, this is a reflected ceiling plan. So this is a section cut through the middle of the room, but it's looking up. So for example, when you're looking up, you're not going to see the countertop or the plumbing fixtures, but you are going to see the upper cabinetry. So we will show the upper cabinetry in there. You're not going to see these. You're not going to see the refrigerators. Well, you might see the refrigerator because it's cut through the middle of the fridge. But basically, that's what I'm getting at. So when you're looking up, you don't just see an empty void between 2 ceiling grids. You actually see a wall header. And so I have a layer to accommodate that. It's called A wall head. So we're going to select the A wall head layer, and we're going to go ahead and we're just going to go ahead and draw in all these. Before you start a ceiling grid, and look, this is a head existing. A wall head. Where is it? A wall head existing. So this is a wall head. Just freeze out the doors so that we're not getting in our way. We're going to have a head over this, a header over this one. This is an actual wall segment. So it needs to have the hatch match properties. Wall head. Now, I don't claim to be the best draftsperson, the best designer, the most knowledgeable. I see people's drawings that are really good, that I mean, they're just, they do everything I do, and they even do more stuff that's even, they're like a big companies with lots of people. They had a great product, and then they had a ton of people using that product, and those people, through trial and error, found weak spots in their product, made suggestions. Those suggestions were diamonds in the rough. The management recognized that. Diamonds in the rough, took those suggestions, employed them in their drawings. Their drawings got better. And these companies have been around for years and years and years, longer than I have. Longer than I have. And their product as a result is literally phenomenal. I mean, phenomenal. But what I do is when I see that, and I see that somebody's got a really, really good product, I adopt those practices. Essentially, what I find is better management practice. So what you're always striving for is best management practices in your product. And when you see somebody employing better management practices than you do, then it's a good idea. See, this is weird. You know what? I should not do that, man. The drawing is like corrupted somehow. I don't know. And I created this. Did I create this drawing? Oh, no, they created this drawing. So see, I think it's stupid when they take a window, these were their windows, and they make them smaller than the wall, because then your wall is not a consistent line straight down. They're trying to get way detailed. They're like, well, if you look at it, there's a tiny little reveal there. It's like, yeah, well, I don't give a shit about that. In my AutoCAD drawing, I need something that's quick and easy and intuitive, not something that is 100% accurate to what's going to happen in the field. What if they select a different window than you specified? Now their window doesn't match with your drawing. And you've taken and gone painstakingly above and beyond to create this hyper detailed drawing that's a cartoon, that's obsolete, that doesn't even reflect what exists. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to try to line up these little things, because what happens is I can tell they don't line up when I do this. But if I print this out at quarter scale, those lines are going to be touching. You're not even going to see that in a plan. The only person that's going to know that it's all like that is you. You know what I'm saying? The person that created it. Well, I don't need to create something. I need all my windows to be the same thickness as the walls, all the walls to be a proper thickness. So, I mean, as you can see, the drawing's a little sloppy, but this was not my original drawing. I didn't create this drawing. We're not going to waste a ton of time going back and trying to screw around with that. So see over here, the window's the same thickness. So I don't even know what's going on. I don't know if this wall's the wrong thickness. That really irks me a little bit, because I went there and took a ton of time to painstakingly draw polylines around every single room and snap it to the center line of that room to produce the most accurate number I possibly could. And now I realize that the walls are all a little bit foofy. This wall's like 5 19/16, and this one's like 5 1/2, and this one's like 5 5/8, and this one's like 5 3.5/8, and it's like, that means our poly lines are all going to be off, but you know what? They're going to be off like a half inch. You know what I mean? So I'm not worried about it. But if it was a little bit better drawn, and you know, a lot of this too, it occurs because the guys are like slam busy, and so they're just blasting through the drawings as fast as they possibly can. They're not really taking their time with it, and I'm guilty of the same thing. Oh, wait a second. Offset 48. This one offsets 48 like this. So that's cool. At least they did that so that it turns the corner fairly decently. 24. See, and the funniest thing is, I'll be honest with you, a lot of, like, I used to run a centered grid. So this means that, let me see if I get my millwork dimensions out here. It basically, what I'm saying is that they've got 1 foot 2, 1 foot 2. So now this side's not centered. Oh wait, here we go. They centered. Looks like they centered it over here.
Yeah, they centered it.
Okay, so that's how they centered. They centered it in this space right here, and then this side got a little tweaked out, which is okay. But the honest truth, I'll be honest with you, a lot of times these ceiling grid guys come in here, they take a full dimension. They take a full dimension of the room. They say 24 feet 3. What if I divide that by 2 feet? It's going to leave a 3-inch dimension on one side of the wall. That's probably not that great. If we go 24 divided by 4 is exactly 6. So 24 feet 3, they're going to leave 3, is still going to freaking leave a 3-inch deal. But a lot of times what they'll do, so in this room, they probably wouldn't do that because they know they don't want to leave themselves a 3-inch deal. But a lot of times what they do is they take your grid where you thought it was all dialed in, right? They take the damn thing and they just run a runner on the wall and another runner on the wall, and they start in the corner and they work their way across, and they don't give a shit about how you told them to do it. And we think that we're so important. We're the designers. We're the people that created the plans. We're creating this thing, and we give it to the contractors, and the contractors are going to do it exactly how we tell them to do it because we're the boss. The contractors don't give a shit about us. They go in there and they do it any way they want to. And you might think, no, they don't do that. Yeah, they do. They adhere to your plan pretty damn closely, but when it comes to, you know, to these types of deals, they completely do it differently. The other thing is the owner comes in and goes, you know what, I don't like those lights. I want to use these lights. The owner overrides you, and then your plan and all the time you spent on it beating yourself over the head meant absolutely nothing. And I'm not telling you that to make you to make you shell shocked about creating a plan. So I always try to create the plans right, but I understand that in the field they might just do their own damn thing. So sometimes I try to envision where are they going to follow my plan and where are they going to deviate from my plan. Where is my plan going to be a little too much work for them to do? And they just decide, you know what, it's a lot easier if we do it this way. And then they ask the owner, he happens to be on site or something like that, because the owner is the number one boss of the whole project. He hired you. Everything you did, you had to have it approved by the owner. The owner can override your plan at any point in time. And if a contractor comes in there and pulls the ear of the owner and says, you know what, this is kind of hard to do it like this. Let's do it this way. It'd be easier. It's not going to make much difference to where the light positions are in the ceiling. The owner would be like, sure, yeah, do it like that. So then you got your plan. You go in there like, what the hell? The plan, this thing's hell, I've gone into rooms and the doors aren't even in the same place where I told them to put the doors. The one thing that they're going to do is they're going to put the walls where you told them to put the walls. They will put the walls where you told them to put the walls, because the walls, I mean, that's a big one. I mean, if they get the wall off and they don't have them enough distance, they don't have enough width in a corridor or something like that, they're going to get sued. And then they're going to come back to the plan and their shit's not going to look like the plan, and they're going to know they're the ones at fault. So you have to know, you kind of go into it knowing that they could totally override and deviate from your plan. But so let's try to make it as intuitive as we possibly can. I'm sticking to these guys' design because they've already got all the lighting laid out. I'm going to fix their design where their design flat out doesn't work. But I'm going to try to stick as closely to their design as they did. Namely because they've already created the design, and I don't want to get blamed for just completely disregarding what was a completely done and approved plan. Okay, so let's go back, turn that on again real quick. I don't want to just disregard that, because then, you know, somebody's going to yell at me. I don't want to get yelled at. I want to try to do it the way they said to do it, but at the same time, I want to look at it and also think to myself, is the guys in the field really going to do this? The thing is, I want to have a good reputation with the contractors, because that way when there's a contractor and he goes, oh, this is a Four Creeks project, oh cool, I know that architect, that guy's good, he thinks about what's important to me, what's going to make my life easier, and he tries to employ that in his plans. And I tell you what, it does a world of good when you're able to accommodate. So see how we've shifted this guy's grid a little bit. It's not like we haven't really blown his plan that much. We've located the light in the room, but we've given a plan that's like feasible to the contractor, you know, to the lighting guy. So he's like, okay, I can do that. Okay, so this one's going to have long rectangular ones. Okay, offset 24, offset 48. Freeze out this. Offset. Continue over with the 48s. Offset 24.
24.
Okay. So here's what we can do. Here's another thing I'll do off the time. Let's go back, turn back on the background. Let's take an actual 2 lines. This is going to tell me what orientation the grid is now. So see what I've done is I've copied 2 lines, and I'm going to go into the rooms that I haven't drawn. Okay, here you go. Here's another room where they've screwed up. You know, you can't have these little sliver walls here. You can't have a sliver tile. That's what they call it, sliver tiles. So you don't make the guy try to cut a sliver tile, because it's just going to cheese apart. He's not going to even be able to go into the thing. You know, it's not going to fit in the grid. It's just, you don't have him do a sliver tile. So we'll go ahead and put this in there, but we're going to fix this grid. So we'll put that there. Put this there. Put this there. That's all part of that open room. This room we haven't done one yet. Put this there. Now this room, the grid's perpendicular, so we're going to go ahead and rotate this 90 degrees. Move it into the room. And now we'll freeze back out PDF. And now we have some guides going in here to give us some guidelines. So let's go ahead and put that back, this one back. Let's freeze out these cubicles. We don't really want anything in the way right now while we're working in here. Okay, now we can just extend. So we can extend. so that we have base. We can even hold shift down and we can trim in the extend command. Did you know
If
about
you do
that?
what? Sorry. If you
So if I'm in an extend command, I can
Yeah.
just click and extend something. If I want to trim something in the extend command, hold shift down.
Oh, I
and
see.
select
Yeah,
it,
that's
and
what
it'll
I
trim
wanted
it.
to know. A guy did it. I just wanted to find out how.
So I'm trimming these, but I'm extending these.
Awesome.
And I'm trimming these by holding shift. I'm holding shift and trimming, letting go of shift and extending and extending. And the same thing too, if you do a trim, you can trim, and if you hold shift, you can extend. So trim and shift are opposites, and by holding the shift key down in either of those commands, it will perform the opposite command. So trim and extend are opposites, and holding shift down in either of those commands will perform the opposite command. And then you can let it go. So you can trim and extend in either one of them. So now we're going to come back in and we're going to offset 24. And we'll just offset all the 24s 24. So typically this is how I always do them. I took us a little bit of time today teaching, but now that you understand the philosophies, I'm
Yes,
showing you the
that's
quick
really great.
way of executing a ceiling grid
Yeah,
in all of your rooms. Oh shit.
I think you're in the right direction, but you need to trim the other one from this room.
I don't remember which one. So this one isn't 24. Okay. This one's a 48. This one I should have been doing 48s, but I do need to trim these. So let's trim this off of this line here. Trim this one off of this line here. Okay. 1 foot 10. 8 inches. Interesting. See how they didn't center the, oh, I see, because they had to worry about this. Here, this one. 3, what's here? This offset difference. 3 feet 2. See, what I would probably do is I would just do this. Move it over to the wall. Now they have a dead nuts. Now they can start in this corner here. See that? Or we can actually go offset 48. That's even kind of small. So let's offset 48s again. So now, so this one, let's go offset 24. This one actually kicks in again. 3, what is this? 6 inches? Yeah, we can get a 6-incher in there. 6 inches, but the smallest you do. And that makes this exactly 24. So here we go. Now we got a problem. So what we need to do now is look at what we actually need to do is take this one off of here, move this up to this wall right here. And now what we actually can do is we can say, it makes sense to go ahead and see, these are all jacked over here. Let me trim it out. That one goes by. Moving the grid. Somehow they overshot. Oh, see what the how see, that's why they screw you over. The dumbass And
That's fine.
you're
Yeah.
going to have to forgive my language because I don't work in an office around any people or anything like that. I work all by myself all the time. So
That's good.
my
You're fine.
vocabulary, while it's incredibly advanced, my curse word vocabulary is incredibly advanced as well. And this is what pisses me off. The idiots made the window not the same size as the wall. So now you run a grid line off that window and it foo-bars up. All your other little grids don't line up. So if these dummies would have had the window lining up right here, I would have had a nice, perfectly squared room out, but it's not. So now it's costing me time and it's costing me time.
Yeah.
I don't have time to waste. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so here's the situation. What we're going to do is it doesn't make any sense to tell the guy to start your grid. Start your grid 6 3/4 inches off the wall, but right up against the corner. Because we know that this is one full tile right here. But what we're gonna do is we can't move this way, but we could move it this way. So watch this. Boom. You got nice, clean tiles all the way around. You got a 6-inch tile here. This tile, you can notch the corner out, no problem. Now what we can do is on our reflected ceiling plan, we're going to tell them, we're going to put an arrow and we're going to say start grid in this corner. If they start the grid in this corner, it'll lay out perfect for the whole room.
Yeah, totally.
Does that make sense? Because the guys hate it when you tell them, start your grid 6 inches off this wall and 6 inches off this wall. They really don't like that. It's almost better if we just took this grid and moved it up this way and took this grid and moved it back this way. Now they got a whole corner grid they can start with. Well, let's just make sure though, because 3, if this is like 25, we're screwed. It's 1'9", so we're stoked. It's almost like full tiles here. Wait, offset 48.
You gotta have at least 6 inches here, right? Yeah, we get inches. Yeah, that's great.
8 inches. We got 8 inches. We're doing fine. Doing fine. So what's beautiful, dude, for these guys is now they run full ceiling tiles all the way to here, and then they just cut. They cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 ceiling tiles. Look at this. I'm undoing. Now they cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Now they cut 22 ceiling tiles. And it wastes those ceiling tiles. Those ceiling tiles are wasted unless there's a big enough leftover chunk on some of them to be able to. So like this ceiling tiles right here, they can come over and they can put them in over here. You see what I'm saying? Makes their life a living hell though, because now you're asking them to cut ceiling tiles around every single freaking room, every single corner. And now you have a huge stack of cut tiles. Go into that stack and sift through to find one that fits in another location. They don't have time for that, dude. So what's going to happen is it's going to run the costs up on the customer. They're going to buy a shit ton more new ceiling tiles so that they don't have to sift through the pile trying to find sliver tiles and this and that to fit here, to piece in all these places where you've asked them, where you have directed them to cut the tiles. And so what they do is they go to their owner and they go, you know, this is going to cost you like probably 10 or 15% more because you're draftsman. And then they go, damn, my draftsman not very smart, are they? And then the next time they do a TI, because these are business people, they have multiple businesses all over Visalia, and they're going to hire you again. Well, maybe not, now that they know that you're not very knowledgeable in what you're doing. So if we fix this, which we will, we'll fix this whole thing. Now the guy goes in there and he's like, damn, dude, who'd you guys have design this? Oh, Sentinel. Dude, those guys are smart, dude. They freaking saved you a shit ton of money on these ceiling tiles. They did. Damn, those guys are like kind of a no-name group. They're like a new up-and-coming group here. They're like, I usually use Tier. They're like big time. They go, oh, no, use Sentinel, because those guys, They actually think about what they're doing. Teeter's really good. They're super good, but they're just too busy right now. They're not really doing you guys a lot of service because
Right.
they're just rushing through your plans. Who do you think they're going to call
Us.
the next time they need to do a TI? They're going to call you. They're going to be like, shit, these guys, they were like 30% cheaper than Teeter was. Well, they were a lot cheaper than that because they were 30% cheaper on your plans, and now they're 15% cheaper on your ceiling grid. And this ceiling grid is going to cost you $24,000, so they just saved you another $5,000. And everywhere they turn around, you're conscientious of stuff, and you saved them like $4,000 on the price of their plans. You saved them like $5,000 on their ceiling tiles. You selected better lighting fixtures, so you saved them another 10. Whole things like you saved them $50,000 when the project's all said and done. And they're like, they'll never use anybody else. They'll never recommend anybody else to their project, any other projects, their friends and stuff that are, because these are business people, right? Who do they rub elbows with? Other business people. And when they get somebody who knows what the hell they're doing, they go, you know what, dude? Call those Sentinel guys, man. They've got like a good staff. Their prices are super competitive. They're super knowledgeable, man. They put together a really good plan. Shit, I had the biggest guy in the city working for me, and then I gave them this guy's plan, and they showed me like 5 different places where I can save money. So that's why things don't get built the way that you design them in your plan, because that's why things didn't get built the way I designed them in my plan, because when I was a rookie, I really didn't know what I was doing, and I just tried to make everything look pretty and nice in my plan, but I didn't really translate it to dollars in the actual construction costs of the project. And when I went out and reviewed the project, everything was different. Like the ceiling grids were all shifted to the corners everywhere. They didn't listen to anything I told them to listen to. And then I asked them, well, why the heck did you do this? Well, because it's a lot cheaper to do it like this. See, if you do this, and I go, oh shit, I guess it is. Okay, damn, son of a gun. I made sure that I figured it out that the next time around, so that I was starting to have a handle on what was going on and get it dialed in.
Yeah, totally.
But it makes a lot of sense,
Totally
doesn't it?
agree with you.
Yes, I mean, like when you guys are working on projects of ours, you'll start to have some insight, and you'll start doing this in all your jobs. You'll be like, yeah, you know what, let's move the ceiling. So typically in my drawings, I design all the electrical, and then all I do is pay an electrical engineer to calculate the circuiting. He doesn't override my lighting fixtures, my ceiling grids. He takes my whole design and then he just engineers it. And you want to know something? They get a little bad taste in their mouth because they're like, well, hell, this guy's doing my job. And it's like, yeah, because I do your job better than you do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I know that kind of ticks them off a little bit. Like, see, even here, you could probably take this grid. We could probably center it a little bit better in this one. We could actually take it right. We don't want to, because we're going to have uppers there, upper cabinetry. So we're going to move. Certain places you actually have to have it. Sometimes, though, you know what? Sometimes you have thought things through well. The guy gets in there and he tries to change your plan, and then he realizes, uh-oh, I screwed it up. So sometimes you do have to try to. So here's what I'll do. I'm going to take this, take another line, and I'm going to look and see if I'm off. Yeah, I need to shift it up a little bit. So this is going to shift up, and these are all going to shift up. It's going to center out dead nuts on here. Now, it's also going to do the exact same thing here. I think.
So we have to make sure also that it has to be centered, right?
In corridors, you sort of do want them centered because the lighting needs to kind of be able to light up that whole corridor consistently. And let's just turn on their layer. I want to see if he's rotated. You can run your lighting perpendicular to the grid. freeze out my lines. I see what they did. They did a narrower, they did this way. I got my thing turned wrong way. I saw these and I thought that was what it was, but it wasn't. So that's fine, that can work. Okay, we can do that. Use that one out, turn the lighting back on. A ceiling grid, where are you at? Here we go. So they actually had this turned this way.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude, listen to this. So I was telling you, I got a dirt bike and I've been riding dirt bikes. A friend of mine had a dirt bike. He has a dirt bike too. And his bike was only a 4-speed, but mine was a 5-speed. And it was a little slower than my bike. So he went and he bought the exact same bike. He got it used, but a 5-speed version and a much newer version. His bike was a 2006, mine was a 16. And his exact same motorcycle in a 2016 5-speed came up. And so he bought it, and then he put his old bike on sale for $2,500. So he bought the new bike for $4,000, put the old bike on sale for $2,500, and somebody decided to buy it. So they came over, they gave him $2,000, and they were going to go back and get the $500 and bring the $500 over, but they had to work, so they were going to work, come back after work, give him the $500, he'd give him the bike, and that would be that. Well, so it was like 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. The guy called him, said he was getting off work and he was heading over to his house. So my buddy pulled his bike, the old bike out that he was going to sell. He fired it up. He was going to warm it up, take it around the block, get it warmed up so that when the guy got there, he could ride it, and take it around the block and just see that the bike was a good bike. So he had the bike idling. These are race bikes. They don't have kickstands. So he took it out in his front yard and he leaned it up against the tree and he just let it sit there and idle for about 15 minutes. Then he got on the bike. He rode it around the block twice. He came back home. He parked it in front of the tree, and the guy was on his way over and he went, you know what, I better just start it up for him. When he gets here, he can ride it. So he goes and he starts the bike up. The guy's like right down the street. He revs the throttle twice, blows the engine up. Took the damn bike down to the shop yesterday to see how bad the damage was. $2,300 in damage.
He's gonna pay that?
The bike is a total loss. He was 5 minutes away from selling the bike for $2,500 and it blows up and loses all of his.
That's a bad day for him.
God, can you believe that? I feel so bad for him. I was because he's been trying to sell that bike for like a couple of months. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's just one of those situations where it's just absolutely horrible. I mean, just horrible. I mean, I can't even understand it. I can't even freaking believe it. I just can't even believe it. It's that bad. I mean, it's that bad. It's just can't even believe it. I feel so bad for him. $2,500. He really needed that money too, because he really kind of didn't have the money to buy the new bike, even though he had the $4,000 in his account. It was really his savings, and he really didn't have the money to spend but he knew it was a good deal. He knew he had the other bike. He knew he could sell the other bike. So he made an executive decision to go ahead and splurge on the new bike. And he really needed that money back. And so he was a little nervous this last month that nobody was trying to buy the bike.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
that was not a good day for him, really.
Now the only way that he can get the money back out of that bike, because it was going to be $2,500 for the shop to dismantle the entire bike, go through the whole thing, replace the parts that were bad, put the parts back in it. Now he's going to have to do all the work himself in his afternoons, and he's going to have to dismantle the entire bike because the bike doesn't have $2,300 worth of damage done to it. It has probably a couple of $100 worth of damage done to it.
Right,
it has $2,300 worth of labor done to it. The parts are cheap. The labor is expensive. So he's not going to...
And take it there and fix it and bring it back.
The bike. I mean, well, his options are either that he has to do all the work himself, or he has to or the bike's a total, or he just has to part it out, because he can still make money on the handlebars, the wheels, the tires, the chain, the plastics, the forks are still good, the suspension is still good. And honestly, bikes are worth like 4 times the amount in parts as they are all put together. As crazy as that sounds, it's really the truth. Because an old used bike is really only worth like $2,500, but the forks themselves, all by themselves, those are worth like $600 just alone by themselves. And the suspension in the back, that's also worth like $400. There's $1,000 right there just in the forks and the rear suspension. The rear swing arm's worth like $65, and the frame on that bike is worth a ton. The frame on that bike's worth like $400. So if he sells just the frame and the shocks, he's got $1,400 coming back to him right there. Just the frame and the shocks. And the tires are probably worth like $50 each. So there's another $100, and then the rims are worth another $100. So there's like $200 for rims and tires if he wants to sell those. So now you're at 14, 15, 16. So you could easily get your $2,500 out of the bike, but you have to put it all on like Craigslist, YouTube, eBay, blah, 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 everywhere you're going to try to sell it. And then you have to, when somebody orders a part, you have to take it down, put the shipping, figure out what the shipping is, charge on the shipping. You have to do work. You have to do work. It's not going to, so it would have been quicker and easier if he could have just made $2,500 off the bike all at one foul swoop. But unfortunately, it's just, I wonder if because he told me, he goes, yeah, man, I fired it up. And then it was sitting in my front yard. I was idling, sitting on the tree idling, and I twisted the throttle on it, and it blew it up. Immediately, I was skeptical. I was like, you blew it up twisting the throttle in your front yard? Did you ride the bike hard when you went around the block? Oh, well, I kind of revved it out a few times. I'm like, yeah, right. You knew that you were going to get rid of that bike. You got on that bike and you rode that fucking bike as hard as you could. You just went down the street on it for one last jolly. You wanted to get one last jolly off of that bike. And you ran that bike. It's freezing cold up here. It's snow and everything like that, right? I said, if that bike was cold and you took that bike and run that thing hard. I didn't say it to him like that, but in my mind, I was thinking that. I was like, it just doesn't add up, dude. You don't blow up a bike with it sitting on the tree in your front yard. That's not how bikes blow up. You blow them up by running them really hard. And I'm thinking to myself, and all I asked him, I says, well, well, did you run it a little hard when you went around the block? And he goes, well, I mean, I kind of revved it out a little bit. And right there, man, that was my evidence. I was like, yeah, you probably revved it out a little too hard, man. So, why did you, I thought to myself, why did you do that? You never should have even fired the bike up, dude. You should have just freaking had it cold. I mean, the thing is, you really don't fire up motorcycles before you sell them. And the reason why is because you leave a bad taste in the buyer's mouth, because the buyer thinks to himself, oh, he had to like fire this thing up and warm it up before I came over. I wonder if it has a hard time starting. I wonder if this bike doesn't start very well. It doesn't idle very well. And so what you always do is you always leave the bike cold, and you let them come over and you say, look, the bike's totally cold. Here, let me start it up for you. And you kick it like 2 or 3 times and boom, it starts up. And then they know that you're not trying to pull any wool over their eyes. You're not trying to make the bike look like it's better than it really is. You're starting with a cold engine because you know that bike doesn't need to be warmed up before anybody rides it. It doesn't need to be like all warm. It starts easy, I mean, the bike starts easy. You don't have to warm them up. You never, like, so if you ever go buy a used car, feel the hood of the engine. If it's all warm and shit, then they went and fucking warmed that thing all up, before you came over, because the car itself probably sucks, dude. It doesn't run very well. And so they had to start it all up and get it all warmed up just so that the thing would like fire up when you came over. You know what I mean? People will do that. Okay, so let's see if we can fix these ceiling grids. So it's 10:30. Do you need to call it one? And
that's what we are planning
Fresno?
to do. So I will talk to you around 3 o'clock, right?
Yes. Let's see what we're gonna do. We were gonna go 3 o'clock, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. I will try to be here at 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. 2 o'clock, because it's 11, 12, 1, 2. That gives you 3 hours.
Okay, I will text you.
If you're not gonna make it, call me. It's not a big deal. We can. I'm flexible, totally flexible with my schedule. So, but I would prefer that we could start a little sooner, because then we'd get 2. If we go till 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's another 4 hours. And I'm trying to put the maximum.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Bob. So I will talk to you at 2 then. Bye.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.